Would you like an opinion on a financial matter you're dealing with? Whether it's about retirement, investments, taxes, or 401ks, Scott Hansen and Pat McLean would like to help you by answering your call. To join Allworth's Money Matters, call now at 833-99-WORTH. That's 833-99-WORTH.
Welcome to Allworth's Money Matters. Scott Hansen here.
Pat McLean, thanks for joining us.
We're going to talk about financial matters, answer some questions from you, talk about some good financial planning stuff.
That's our hope. You be the
Our
judge.
objective, by the way, our objective with this program is to help you, to help educate you in matters that are of importance in your life, your specific life, so that you can make wise decisions of what you think is best for you and your family.
You.
And we're all different. We have different hopes and goals. We have different objectives in life. We have different risk tolerances. We have different design. I think we're all unique. And no two financial lives are the same either. So they're all unique. And so part of it is helping you come up with what's going to be best for you and what you're trying to accomplish in your life.
And quite frankly, it's to try to, I mean, it's a successful show if some of the biases that you hold about investing are actually shaved or slightly changed because as a result of this program about investing and tax planning.
I hope so.
Yeah, because we all walk into these investments with biases.
Absolutely.
Right? And
if you're spending time on Twitter or X or whatever it is, those algorithms are going to continue to load articles that are confirmed with your existing bias.
That's exactly it.
Confirmation bias. Then you're just like, well, everyone seems to believe in this is the right thing to do.
I
So it
hate
must
that
be.
word, everyone. I hate that word.
Most people. And
well, no, but that's what we have a tendency. It's like everyone believes this, and you're like,
so maybe I'm the wrong. If I don't believe that, something's wrong with me. I should
correct.
get with the crowd. Yeah.
yes, I mean
That's human nature too.
Yes. It's like we look for confirmation bias. So,
And what I love the most about our profession, Pat, the financial planning, is it's the blending of the human nature along with empirical evidence and the financial planning,
and then technical when you bring in tax.
it's a
Because tax is
phenomenal
highly
discipline.
technical. You can have an opinion about tax.
tax is easy though because it's black or white. Closely.
Close.
Mostly. Not all that black and white.
Right. And some things that were actually
Mostly.
forbidden a number of years ago, now people are doing it on a regular basis in tax law.
Oh yeah.
Just because the regulatory environment says yay or nay, or this is oftentimes tax law is created by enforcement rather than by legislation.
And speaking of that, you never want to be famous by having a tax law named after you.
That's a bad thing.
And you see this every year. You see it. It's someone had a really aggressive approach to trying to avoid taxes. They get challenged in tax court. There's a case. They lose. They end up bankrupt or whatever, having to repay the IRS all this money that they no longer have. And then that sets the precedent going forward. Here's
Yes.
why you can't do that
Or
maneuver.
Or the other way, where they actually win, and then that sets a precedent as well. So,
yeah,
that's
or
why
a private letter ruling that they get the green light on, and
once there's 3 or 4 private letter
And you're
rulings
like, well,
around,
I
very similar.
then let's all hope that I can get away with this too.
Yes.
So maybe it's not all that black and white. Most of it's black and white.
Most of it's black and white. But you're right. It's investing's not easy because there's sacrifice. You have to believe in a future.
You have to believe in a future, otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. And
we know that the future we're all going to die too. So we have to plan for when we're not around anymore. We accumulate some assets so we have greater options in our life,
and then
when we leave, like, all right,
what happens?
What influence are we going to have with these dollars? And
yeah, and that's a very, very personal, especially if
Extremely
you're high
personal.
net worth. Do I leave it to my children? Do I leave half of it to my
Everyone's got
children?
different opinions
How
on
do
it.
I actually pay
That's
it
right.
out? Should it go to a charity? Should it go to charity while I'm alive? Should it go to a charitable remainder trust so I can take income from it? I mean, if you have significant wealth at all, and what would I call significant?
Yeah, what is
wealth?
significant wealth?
$5 million or more.
Okay.
Then you should be heavily involved in estate planning. You should know exactly. You're not. The likelihood
$5 million, and let's say you're 60 or over.
Yes.
If you're $5 million and 40, you might spend it all.
Well, it was probably a windfall if that were the case.
That's why I'm saying you might spend it all.
Okay, that's right.
So if you're near retirement age with $5 million, it's probably a result of your saving and discipline.
And by the way, once you hit retirement and you believe that you're going to blow through this stuff, it's highly unusual that you actually change your behavior very much.
Yeah,
highly unusual.
That's right.
So although I had a how old is he? 82. He's got a lot of money. He now flies private.
Oh, that's one way to spend your money. Doesn't take long to spend it flying private.
Well, he doesn't travel that much, but when he does, he's 82 and is kind of in poor health. But he said, I still want to travel. And I said, you've got enough money here that you could fly private anywhere you want to go. And he's like, and I said, well, not internationally. They're not flying private to Europe. But if you want to go anywhere in the U.S. or you're in Europe and you want to fly, and he said, why would I do this? And I said, well, because you've got
more money than you're ever going to spend in your lifetime.
Yes.
And if you want to,
and so but I don't know why I went there.
I don't know either. Because there would be others that say, regardless of how much money, I don't want to.
Well, that's
they're all personal choices.
Yeah. So anyway,
but it's nice to get to a point in life where you have some choices. And one of the things that we've been passionate about in our 3+ almost 4 decades in doing this is we want people to be in a place where work is an option and not an obligation, where they have freedom in their life to choose how they're going to spend their time. I truly believe that life is about serving others, about being taking part in other people's lives, and which can be done remarkably well in the marketplace through your profession, that sort of thing. But it's pretty nice if you can be in a position in life where you get to choose what your profession is going to be.
Yes.
You get to choose who you serve because you're not having to work for a paycheck.
And that's not uncommon.
No, not at all. I mean,
common.
it's
one of
the that's some.
I actually had clients that opened.
Regardless of what you think about our current state of this country, it's a phenomenal place to be.
Yeah, I have clients that opened a girls' school in Africa. Right? They live very, very modestly. So modest that if you met them, you'd think, "Holy smokes!" But they have the resources, and the idea is that they want to serve this population.
And for them, it's not about having a fancier dinner or a wine cellar
or even a nice car.
None of that's important to them.
None of that's important to them. But this charity, and God bless them.
Probably a nice couple to spend some time with.
Oh, they're
of course.
They're brilliant.
There's certain people you like to be around. I just hope a little of that rubs off on me.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Which is why I quit hanging out with the Sisters of Mercy in the Catholic Church. It make me feel bad.
You don't want to go that far. All right. Anyway,
I did not take the vow of poverty.
We've got a great program today. We've got some callers. We're also going to have Victoria Bogner, who's our head of wealth planning here at Allworth, talking about a client story. So looking forward to that.
And I'd like to talk about the anti-woke funds, which I didn't really even know they existed until recently.
Anti-woke. And what is an anti-woke fund? Is this like the reverse of an ESG fund?
Exactly.
ESG is environmental, social, and governance.
Whatever that means.
Which means different things to different people.
And anti-woke means not that, or whatever that means.
Whatever that means.
Right? Or whatever that means.
Whatever there's some progressive, I think it's some anti-progressive cause or something. I would assume anti-woke would be that.
Yes. But I'd like to talk about that later on. Then.
I'm sure the performance of them is phenomenal.
Well,
the problem with this sort of thing.
You want to talk about it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about it now.
I thought we'd take a call, but go.
And then the problem with any of these types of things, the funds themselves, here's the problem. We all have different values And like my idea of an ESG is probably different than your idea of an ESG.
I know it is.
Right? And whether like all these sort of values. And if you say, well, I don't want to invest in anything that supports alcohol, as an example. My whole family's a bunch of alcoholics and I don't want to support anything with alcohol. Okay, well, maybe it's easy to say, let's don't own Budweiser.
Yes.
But what about the trucking company that transports?
Okay.
Or the shipping container that, like,
Or
the restaurants.
Or Marriott Corporation, because they serve it.
Or
where's the line?
Where's the line?
Where's the line? Right? That's exactly the issue. And who draws the line? But they're fads. They're Scott. This when this ESG came out. So my oldest son is.
They've been out. They used to call them something different. What did they call them years ago? Calvert was one of the mutual fund companies that had one of the earlier ones. Were they socially responsible investing?
That's what it was
called. No, it was called something different, I think.
No, socially responsible.
Was that what it was? Socially responsible.
And then it turned into ESG.
How can you argue if it's socially responsible?
How do you remember that?
You can have a socially irresponsible fund? You don't want that. You need a socially responsible fund. Now, that's a great marketing. We're a socially responsible
Say
fund.
it again.
Socially responsible.
But it's a great marketing.
So to attract dollars. By the way, these ETF manufacturers are no different than any other type of business.
Retailers.
Yes, they're trying to create a product to attract customers to get them to buy their product.
Because they make a management fee on it.
Yes, and the more people who buy their ETFs, the more money they make.
That's right.
Pretty simple.
Right? And so that's why they're fads. Because when the marketplace when they believe that there's a gap in the marketplace that needs filled, they will create a product to fill that. And actually, they can do it relatively easy. You can stand up a mutual fund in less than a day, a couple days. You could stand up a mutual fund in a relatively short period of time.
Anyone still creating mutual funds?
Or ETFs. But you can stand them up pretty easily. So I read this article about these anti-woke funds, and I thought, oh my gosh, again, Wall Street has created just another product to feed whatever short-term.
Where do you draw the line there?
Yeah.
I'm sure people anti-woke, everyone's going to have a different opinion on what that is.
The American Conservative Values ETF. There we go. It's tracked pretty close.
There's another way to do it. If you have maybe a couple $100,000 or more to invest, instead of buying a fund, you can you can create your own index and exclude whatever companies you want from that. And that way it's designed specifically for you. So if there's a particular company that you loathe, and it might be like, I do not like the values of this particular company and this particular CEO. I do not want to own that. You can have a direct index. You create your own index that you buy essentially most of the companies in the S&P 500, if that's your index, to mirror that. Then you say, I want to exclude this company and that company.
And it's really easy to do today.
Correct, with technology.
So Scott, I helped
that makes tremendous sense as opposed to putting in some ETF that who knows who's deciding what are your values.
So 20 plus years ago, I helped write the investment policy statement for the Catholic Diocese of Sacramento. And you had to follow the bishop's guidelines of investing, which is there were certain companies or industries they absolutely would not invest this endowment in. So I remember we went to the marketplace with this investment policy statement, and there was 2 companies that could fulfill because it was so complicated. This is 20 plus years ago. It was so complicated to do, and it was expensive.
Easy now. Easy and low cost today.
It was expensive and hard to do.
So easy for an endowment and low cost. Easy for an individual and low cost.
Easy to do, right? I just remember sitting and interviewing these people, and the investment companies that specialized in endowments for Catholic and religious charities. And I said to the guy, "This is unbelievably expensive." And he said, "Oh well."
That's right. You want this or don't you want it? Like, we're the only game in town.
It was, and you could have your own investment policy statement and exclude whatever companies you want. So you don't have to buy the American, what is it called? American conservative values.
Like, I personally don't exclude any particular companies, but I do remember years ago, I had a family member ask me, he was looking at buying a bar, like a bar, not like a brewery that serves food and stuff, like a bar. You just go there to drink. And I'm like, what? Why you want to invest in it? Why would you like? And I said, I don't care what the business prospects are. Like, I personally would not want to invest in just a bar. That's just my so I wouldn't have invested. I don't care what it is, because with that particular family member, it wouldn't have happened. But anyway.
Oh, he wanted you to put money in it.
He wanted me to invest.
Did he ever buy the bar?
No.
You know,
he didn't get my money.
My dad bought a bar when we were little. My mom was so mad.
Of course she was mad. What could go wrong?
I was probably in the second or third grade. He came home and he bought a bar.
What could go wrong? Sounds like a great idea. Well, look, honey, I got to save money on my alcohol consumption.
We didn't own it very long.
I'm assuming he bought it without telling her.
That's right. Oh, you knew my dad.
Oh, life is beautiful. It really is.
You can imagine if I came home and told my wife I bought a bar, she'd leave me. My mom was a saint.
Life is interesting, though.
It wasn't just a bar. It was like the grungiest bar you've ever seen. Like in Azusa, California. All right, let's go.
All right, yeah. Let's take some calls here. But you could either look back at your seasons of life and think about the pain, or you could just, life's so beautiful. It's such an interesting journey, and all those things we go through help create us to who we are today. And it's an interesting journey.
Actually, when I had the sepsis and I was really sick, the doctor said to me after I kind of could figure stuff out, said, you were really pretty close to death. And I'm like, it was a pretty good ride. I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, you fight it.
Well, no.
And here you're here, yeah.
No. Well, you don't give up, but anyway.
All right, let's take some calls. If you want to join us, you can send us an email, and we'll set up a time to take your call. Questions@moneymatters.com. We're talking to Amy. Amy, you're with Allworth's Money Matters.
Hello.
Hi, Amy.
Hi.
How can we help you?
How can we help?
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
Yeah. So I am looking at. I have some questions about S-BLOCs, the Securities-Backed Line of Credit. The risks, the benefits.
Okay.
And I'm looking to buy a home after renting a bunch of years. I'm 66 years old, and I'm not sure it's a wise idea for me.
Okay.
So the questions would be...
Tell us about your situation. So you're 66. Are you still working?
66. I work full time. I live in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. I rent now. I've been renting for about 7 or 8 years since I've been divorced. And I know I'm in an expensive area. I'm willing to move, although I prefer a coastal region. I'd move to the Northeast, but I'd love to stay in Northern California. My idea is to work a few more years, maybe to 70, so that I can buy a home relatively soon with a large down payment and start paying down the mortgage, so that once I am retired with no income, I will have a more workable monthly amount to pay.
And do you have family near you where you are now?
I have 2 children in their 20s. One's in New York and one's in LA.
Okay.
Okay. And tell us about your...
Who knows where they're going to be, right?
Tell us about your financial situation. One question before we get there. Are you in a rent-controlled situation?
Like in the city?
No,
okay.
I'm not.
Okay. How much is your rent?
It's about $2,800 a month. I have a 2-bedroom.
Okay.
So,
and how much do you make?
So I make about $130,000 a year. And as far as my other assets go, I have about $100K in liquidity. I have about 320,000 in investments. I have about 400,000 in retirement funds. So overall, to my name, I have about 800K altogether.
And what does your Social Security benefit look like at age 70?
3,500 a month.
And do you have a pension or a pension from your previous marriage?
No, not really. No.
And any other debts to speak of?
No.
How long have you earned this 130?
Since 2022. And before that, I made about 100,000, 100 and
So
about 100.
you've been in the workforce the whole time.
Yes. Well, no. I took time off to have children.
Yeah.
I married late and had children late, so I took about 10 years off.
Okay.
And so getting back into the workforce reduced my income. So, since 2016, I've moved up from about 60,000 to 130.
Okay. And your job's secure?
When were you making 60,000?
In 2016, I jumped
Okay.
back. Yeah.
Good for you.
Okay. And where did you get this idea of the security-backed line of credit?
Well, instead of liquidating, investments, I save on capital gains. I keep my investments. That seems like a nice idea, although I understand it has to be a variable rate for interest, so that scares me.
But who did an investment advisor or someone at a brokerage firm tell you about this, or did you find out about it on your own?
I found out about it on my own, and also I correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand there's some flexibility in how this money is used. It can be. Used.
You can do anything you want with it. You can bring it up.
Essentially, what this is, you are pledging your securities in exchange for a loan. So they say, well, we're not just going to take Amy's word for it that she's good to pay us back. Tell you what, Amy, give us your savings, your securities here, and that way, if you don't pay us back, we're just going to take your securities and keep them for ourselves. And that's the collateral, right?
And so you can do this as a margin loan, or you could do it as a security-backed line of credit, which is typically a little bit less expensive than a margin loan.
Tad.
Yeah, a little bit.
But regardless, you are pledging your stocks, ETFs, whatever's in your investment account. And the challenge, the concern there is one that you've got this interest that needs to be paid or accumulates. And if the markets go down, or when the markets go down, if you don't have enough in the account, they can do what's called a margin call, which means, hey, Amy, the value of the account went down too much. Either you give us some more cash, or we're going to be forced to sell some of your securities.
So these are perfect if they're short term, right? I've used them myself. I've used them for clients. In fact, in the last 2 years, I used them for clients twice to purchase a new home while the other home was in escrow or about to be sold. And so I typically want to minimize the exposure to what I would think to be less than 6 months. And even then, I don't use up all the margin, which means...
Because you never know when the next bear market's coming.
Yeah, which even then, so a margin, if they said, okay, you've got this, what'd you say, investments, 320, you should be able to get, 160 out of it. I would, if I was your advisor, I'd say, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do it for the short term, but I probably would limit this at 100,000, maybe 120, so you don't get a margin call.
Let's back up here. So your objective is to get another house, and you'd love to have a house paid for so you don't have to worry about that. And you'd love to be somewhere on the coastal side, preferably Northern California. Is that what you said?
Yes. Well, I'm just trying to find something I can afford.
Yes.
To stay.
So
I don't, I can't, it's an affordability.
Yeah, I get it.
No,
I get
100%.
It. No, the Bay Area.
And you're
is
in
like,
California.
Yeah, I know,
well, forget the Bay Area. I mean, unless you want to move up to the north coast of California, where they're going to be less expensive. But anything south of, let's say, we're from California, so we know the geography. Anything south of Bodega Bay is going to be phenomenally expensive on the coast.
How much will a home cost you?
Well, I mean, I'm seeing very small properties for as low as $450, but they're not necessarily in a great neighborhood.
That's
they're
right.
not in great shape. They're not, they're not and then the HOAs, the condos are very high too. So, what I'm looking at really that's available now are mobile homes and very, very.
So one thing that you may not have thought about, and I'm just thinking, Amy, you're my sister. I'm trying like, what's some good things to do here? One thing to consider is using a reverse mortgage to help purchase a house.
Huh.
So let's say you had a house of
600.
You took the most of your cash, you took a good chunk of your investment portfolio, leave your retirement funds, and then you use a reverse mortgage to fund, I don't know, it's $250 or so, or $300,000 of the house. And the way those work is a reverse mortgage. It's not like you are giving up control of the house. You still own the house. It's just the mortgage. You're not required to make the interest payments on it. They just accumulate over time.
So you're basically you're pledging the equity in the home to actually pay off the interest payments over time. That's exactly how they work.
And if over the long term, the real estate appreciates faster than the interest on that loan, there's still equity in the house, even if you lived in it 30 years. And if a real estate market goes horribly wrong for a period of time, the federal government guarantees you can stay in the house until the day you die.
I would not use a security-backed loan under no circumstance.
I really think you should consider.
I got one more for you, Scott.
Okay.
What's your social circle like where you live? Is it big, small?
It's fairly small. I've had to move farther out from the Bay Area for my job. So, and as I'm getting older and I'm single, it's not as vibrant as it used to be.
Okay. Have you ever thought of moving overseas?
Yes, and that I love to travel, and again, my kids are here; they're in their mid-20s, but I love to travel, and if that's more economical and safe and makes more sense, I'm clearly open to it.
There are. I had dinner with a couple last night that bought a second home in Spain. This is the third person I know that bought a second home in Spain.
One of our financial advisors at Allworth has a home in Spain.
And his buddy has the home right next door to him.
Right?
Yes. And the reason is they could get A+ properties on the beach. And what you want to look for is healthcare.
Make sure you have access to it.
You have access to it, and it's affordable. Political stability in that particular country, and then affordability. So, my oldest son studied in Quito for 5-6 months.
Where's Quito?
Ecuador.
Okay.
And I went to visit him, and he brought me to Gringoville. They call it Gringoville. You would have thought you were in any suburb in the United States. It was nothing but Americans, and most of them living on Social Security, and that was it. I talked to a couple of them. So it depends on how adventuresome you are. But I would certainly consider that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Portugal seems to be the place to go these days.
Yes. Portugal is, in fact, not that we travel the world, but we go on 2 big trips a year. We ended up in a part of Portugal outside of Lisbon it looked like Carmel with all the tourists and the Americans.
Well, this is great. Yeah, I had a feeling these S-BLOCs were a little crazy and too risky.
They're too risky.
Yeah, and you cannot afford to live in coastal California. I mean, that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
I do think, to Pat's point, your social, like finding out where's the best place for you. And you got 2 kids that LA and New York, they're probably 10 years from now, they're not going to be in LA and New York, maybe, but you never know, right? But having the flexibility where you can still afford to visit them periodically, I think obviously that's really important to you, I would assume. And it's thinking through those things, and maybe in a perfect world, you have a home that's paid for. It just provides some stability long term. But you're 66. This isn't the retirement that you had originally envisioned for yourself, but this is where you are. And I think really getting some clarity on what's going to be fulfilling for you, and then first, and then working backwards on what options we have. But I don't like the idea of borrowing against your securities.
No.
Okay, thanks. I will look into what a reverse mortgage can do.
Yeah,
for me
reverse
and
mortgage purchase.
Yeah.
Reverse mortgage purchase. All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you so much. This has been hugely helpful.
All right.
Good.
And listen, call us anytime. And if you buy a place in Spain or Portugal,
Well, how about rent somewhere for a while?
you might want to rent
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
Before
Probably
you dig
wanna
in,
rent.
you want to rent.
I remember. I appreciate the call. I mean, I had a client years ago. Was it Costa Rica or Guatemala? I'm trying to remember where he lived. Somewhere in Central America, but he was like a block from the beach. It was so cheap. He spent less than his Social Security. It was so cheap for him to live there.
Was he happy there?
He loved it. Well, but he came back eventually. I don't know why he came back, but whatever. I mean, you're far away from family, but there's community. To your point, you can go to pockets where they're.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked how big the social circle is. The bigger your social circle where you actually live, the less likely you're going to pull up and move. The harder
My
it is.
wife and I have lived in El Dorado Hills for 30 years.
Yes.
You have as well.
Same house.
And I have no desire to leave, actually,
I know.
because I enjoy the social circle I've got.
That's right.
Anyway, let's continue on. We're talking to Dawn. Dawn, you're with Allworth's Money Matters.
Hi there. Thank you for taking my phone call.
Yeah, glad you joined us.
Okay. Here's my question. I own a home in Bonita, Florida, worth $500,000, and I have stocks worth $500,000. And I am interested in buying a house with my fiancé. I don't really have a job. It's like a part-time thing, but my portion would have to be $250,000. Should I take it from my stocks, or should I sell my house that I own and get the money from that?
Do you live in this house in Florida?
Yes.
So what do you owe on the house?
Nothing. I own it.
And so you have a fiance. You guys want to combine. Why would you want to keep the house in Florida?
Well, I could probably rent it out. It's a nice little house. I bought it for like $300,000, and now it's worth $500,000.
Okay, and so that was the second question. How old are you?
I am 55.
And no income to speak of.
Not really.
And this might be a little personal, but we're going to ask it anyway. Is your fiance in decent financial shape?
Yes.
Okay.
Great financial shape?
Yeah, I think he's good. I think he's good. He's a lot better. Yeah, he's good.
I'd sell the house.
You'd sell the house.
Yeah, and let me tell you why.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right? That's just not a flippant why. One is because it's a primary residence, there's no tax on that gain. Right? But if you converted it to a rental, then if you rented it 3 out of the last 5 years, or is it 2 out of the last 5 years? 2 or 3 out of the last 5 years. Then
it becomes investment property.
It becomes an investment property, and your basis is $300,000. So let's just say you converted it and then sold it 5 years from now. It's a rental. You sold it 5 years from now, and
you got to pay the capital gains.
You got to pay the capital gains. But if you sold it today,
you can avoid it.
Yeah, and you'd be better off actually if you wanted an investment property is to sell this, turn around and buy an investment property to reset your basis, and then turn it into investment property.
Which may not be a bad idea.
Okay, so it's a primary house, but there's no capital gains.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Ah, that's very interesting.
Right, and so it's a tax savings to you. It's somewhat of a tax savings. Probably, well, you're in Florida, so probably $40,000.
I mean, your options are to come up with $250,000 are essentially you either take a mortgage on your house, which don't really like that idea, or you sell some of your stocks,
which you have.
Right.
How long have you owned the stocks?
Different stocks for probably like 4 years.
So you've got
5
gain in
years,
those
5
stocks
years.
you'd have to actually pay
Correct.
tax on. So the easiest.
And do you have a 401k or IRA or that sort of thing?
No. Nope.
So the easiest and the most tax efficient place to get the money is the house. And then I think I'd take that $250,000 in gain and I'd put it in a high yield money market and just see how it is living. How long have you been dating this guy?
3 years.
You live together now?
Have you ever lived with him?
He's living with me now.
And it's working out?
Yes.
Apparently, that's why
Well,
she's
I don't
calling.
know.
I know. Otherwise, it'd be, hey, how do I get this deadbeat out of my house?
Yeah, you're like, oh, listen. It's just... I'd sell that house, and then I'd probably put the money in.
Before I got married, I would have either a trust that protects your assets or some sort of prenup on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Before I actually bought the house with a
Yes.
fiancé, I would actually visit an attorney.
And you can do it in
Okay.
estate planning, so it's part of your... Do you have children?
Yes.
Yeah.
2 teens.
Yeah. Okay. God bless you. So you can do this as part of your estate planning. You want to protect the assets that are yours that remain yours,
And keep it separate, including your deposit and...
I mean, even it
50%
could be
down.
unintentional. Like let's say somehow you were killed in an accident and you're married and everything goes transferred over to your new husband.
You unintentionally disinherited
Yeah.
your own children.
How do you do that? How do you? I guess that's with an estate.
Yeah,
planning.
Estate planning attorney. So you want to sell the house, take the money, put $250,000 into a high yield money market. I just kind of wait on that. I wouldn't be in a hurry to invest that, but I would spend money on a quality attorney to make sure that this money is considered separate and the home is titled correctly. So, and you might want to put a life estate on it, or he put a life estate for you, which means if he dies first, you have the ability to live in it for the rest of your life, and then it passes the heirs. And you might want to do the same
Okay.
for him. So
Or not.
or not.
Or not.
Yeah, that's a good point. They're
complicated.
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
But that's something in an
because I've got
estate-
kids and he's got 1 kid, right?
Yeah, that's something in an estate that you want to have a discussion with an estate planning
Yeah,
attorney about.
they'll take care of that part. So we're looking at maybe a house that's worth about $1 million. So
Oh.
he takes care of everything else. I just put in that part.
And
Hopefully
you'll get a
that'll work
mortgage.
There'll be no
He's putting in $750, or each putting in $250 and getting the mortgage for $500.
I don't know. I don't know what his part of the plan is.
Well, I'd want to get some clarity on that.
important. Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah, you've got
You
to
want some clarity on that.
Yeah, yep. You want to know how much of the house you own and what the
I
mortgage
mean, I hate to
is.
say it. I would really want to see if, as a financial advisor, like you'll want to see his financial situation, what debt's there, and
I don't care what kind of
credit.
car he drives or how nice he dresses.
He doesn't dress great, and
That's a
he
good
doesn't care
sign.
about cars, and he does pretty well.
Yeah, that's
He
a
does
good
pretty
sign.
well.
It's a good sign. It's a good sign. Those are all good signs.
I know it's hard when you're in love and all that, and
I'd want to peek into the financials.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would really want to
Well,
find out
thank
his
you
plan.
So much.
All
right, Don,
appreciate
wish
it.
you well.
Thank you so much for helping. I really, truly appreciate
All right,
it.
take a look at those
Have a wonderful day.
financials, Dawn. If you were my little sister,
Oh, you
we'd
would
be-
insist upon it.
I would. We wouldn't. I'd say you're out of your mind.
Yeah, of course. Your sister. You'd
my
be
little sister.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
At this stage in life.
Yes. Yeah. Which is
And then, Rob, the problem
oh. Let's go. We don't have a long enough program to actually talk about all the ones we've seen that blew up. I remember the widow that, oh my gosh, married this young lady with 3 kids. He was broke within 4 years.
Yeah. On both sides. I mean, not just a male-female thing. It's both.
Oh, I've seen both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, you got to be careful there. Anyway, we've got...
That's sad just thinking about
I
it.
know. I know. Well, it's interesting. Like, I mean, divorce is just horrible for your family finances.
Great divorce, especially.
Yes, it is. It's just, and it's hard to get restarted and all that. And the last thing you want to fall in love with someone who's going to drain out the finances,
Yeah.
and then what happens 5 years down the road and all that.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's what we've seen.
So there.
Okay.
Hey, one more on that point. When I know you do the same. When I talk to people, in order to get the most empathy out of the situation, I try to pretend as if they were a family member.
Yeah, because I don't know anybody.
Right? So you have to include the emotion in there. You can't give advice with lack of emotion. You have to have the empathy.
Yeah,
in
I
there.
always picture them as my sister, my parent, my
Right.
child.
The brother-in-law I don't really like.
Well, if they're real jerks, then.
All right, let's go.
All right. We've got our guest today, Victoria Bogner, has joined us. Victoria, she's been on the program a number of times. She's our head of wealth planning, and she's going to talk about, I don't know what she's talking about. Victoria, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Good to be here.
Yeah. What are we discussing today?
Well, this is a really fun one. So we have clients, they're both 62, and they came to us ahead of selling their family business, and they were selling it for $10 million. So this has been a fun case to work on.
And is this a business that they started from scratch? And I mean, have they had high income over the years, a high lifestyle, or is this like life-changing?
This is going to be pretty life-changing. This is a business that they started themselves, a business where they had contracts with builders to sell them the air conditioners and furnaces. So very, very successful business.
Okay.
So in a blue-collar field.
It's a blue-collar field, and this is very common.
There's a lot.
That we see, that these blue-collar businesses that they started.
Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of these little business trusts.
Before you go on, Victoria, are they selling to a roll-up?
Are they selling to, I'm sorry, say that again?
Are they selling to a roll-up? A private equity backed.
Oh, no, they're actually selling to another investor that's going to actually take over the business.
Okay. Perfect.
So tell us the situation.
It's a perfect situation. Yeah. So what's so great about this is they came to us before the sale, which gives us a lot more flexibility in what we can do than coming to us after the sale and with a lump of cash, right? So they're considering their situation, they just needed $240,000 a year in spending. They wanted to support their church, and of course, they wanted to pay as little in taxes as humanly possible, like all of us. So this is what we recommended and what we ended up doing. First, we moved 3 million of their LLC units into a charitable remainder trust, which is a really powerful vehicle because we avoided capital gain on that part of the business. It provided them with about $150,000 of income every year for life, and it established a future gift to their church of about $1 million, which gave them a huge tax deduction.
So with that, so their goal was to help their church. So that essentially they gift $3 million worth of their business. They get a tax deduction of $1 million that they can use over the next 5 years, this year and the next 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then they
get the income off.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Trifecta,
and they avoided paying the capital gain.
That's which trifecta again. That's why it's the trifecta: the charity, the income, and the capital gain.
Try 3.
Exactly. But here's the key: you got to do it if you want to avoid those capital gains. You got to do it before you sell the business.
Oh, correct.
And it's not always that quite clear. Depending on the structure, S Corp, LLC, LP, C Corp, we don't always get a full.
Correct.
We can't always avoid the capital gain tax.
With an S Corp, there's a nuance there for sure.
That's right.
But their business was an LLC, so this worked out great. So then next $2 million of it, they just took it as cash at closing. So that covered the first year's tax bill of around, $500,000 and set aside a couple of years worth of living expenses, and then gave them a buffer for any near-term needs that they had after the business sale. And then the remaining $5 million was actually a 5-year, 5% installment note. So each January, the note gives them $1 million of principal plus 5% interest. So that spread that remaining capital gain across 5 tax years.
And how concerned were they? Victoria, how concerned were they on the new operator's ability to pay those payments?
The credit quality of the operator.
Well, this particular person that was buying this had their own successful similar business.
Perfect. So it's beautiful.
So there was really no issue.
It wasn't like it's the guy or the gal has been running the business for the last 8 years. Let's trust them to run it perfectly in the future.
It may have been a competitor. Was there any real estate involved in the ownership?
Yes, they did own their warehouse, so that was part of it.
And so did they sell the warehouse or did they lease back to the buyer?
They planned on just leasing it back for now.
Perfect.
Yep. So that worked out great. So with all of that structure in place, we have some really powerful tools where we could run the numbers to verify their tax brackets, their deductions, how it impacted their Medicare surtax exposure. We were able to aggregate their accounts and figure out what the absolute best way was to allocate their accounts so that their cash flow was stable, but they weren't paying a lot in tax. And then we're able to figure out, okay, as we are getting this income from the installment sale, and that's going down over time, then they, of course, had a bunch of tax-deferred accounts because they were good savers to begin with. So between their ages 63 and 69, we're going to be able to convert about $1 million over into Roth accounts. And so that's going to lower their RMDs, their required minimum distributions, by about $45,000 a year, and then shift more of those assets into the tax-free bucket for their kids.
Brilliant. So
yeah,
so you actually, we use a specific specialized software to do this that I probably would not be able to find online if I was trying to do it myself.
No, this is software that's extremely sophisticated. It's actually a suite of software that we combine to be able to look at every facet, stress test the portfolios, and then we use them in a way where we can look at every angle of what we're recommending and figure out, okay, if we do this, how does it impact everything else? And what's going to be the best course of action if we make this decision? Which is something that an average investor wouldn't be able to do on their own.
So on the sale of the business, right? On the sale of the business, you have a 5-year note, but it's an experienced operator with a successful business. So
it's $5 million up front in the next five.
And what's the interest on that?
5%. 5%.
Another trifecta. 555, another trifecta. Did you have any role in setting the price of the business and the interest rate that the IRS would actually accept as reasonable to carry that note?
I personally didn't. They had somebody that valued the business for them, and then they had somebody else actually transact the sale and do that part of it.
Okay.
So our role was really in recommending how to set up the proceeds they were going to get from that sale ahead of the sale so that they could maximize their cash flow, their security, and also minimize tax.
And Victoria, did they have a financial advisor before coming talking with you?
They had a financial advisor that I'm sure was amazing for the stage of life that they were in, but that advisor was not well equipped to handle what could be done with this business sale.
That's super common. Like people have a financial... Super common. People have had a financial advisor for years. Maybe it's the sorority sister from college or whatever. Like they've known them a long time, and they're fine on getting the 529 plans and helping with the 401k, maybe the Roth IRA. But when it comes to advanced planning like this, oftentimes it makes sense for someone to upgrade their advisor.
Yes, that's right, and that's exactly what happened.
Was this done digitally, or have you met with these clients in person?
This was all done over Zoom. So we did not meet with these people in person yet. Now, once everything, the dust settles from the sale and everything, we have advisors all over the country. So they'll be working with an advisor that's very close to them, and we'll be able to meet them in person.
Which is one of the benefits as we've grown over the last few years, is to get to this really sophisticated, we can serve clients all the way through to the ultra wealthy with the sophisticated tax planning and investment analysis.
Yeah, what's really great is being the head of the advanced wealth planning team is that it's not just the advisor working with the client independently. They have an entire team of experts behind them that can figure out what these complex situations call for and then see that through to the end.
So, and this is just how it's structured. So if someone, let's say in Roanoke Park, California, which is outside of San Francisco, meets with an advisor and it's very complicated, that advisor kicks that case upstairs to the advanced wealth planning team.
Or downstairs.
Exactly.
We keep them in the basement.
Contact our team, and we work really closely with that advisor to formulate the best plan for the client.
I'm so glad you joined our firm. How long have you been with us now?
It's been a blast.
What is 3 years now? Is it 3 years?
No, it's been just a little over 2 years.
And Victoria
Yeah,
joined us through a lot of, Allworth has grown quite a bit just organically by new clients joining us, but also one of our strategies of finding the best talent in the country is by having firms partner up with us. So Victoria was CEO of a firm. She wasn't looking for a job. Her firm folded in and became part of Allworth, and now she heads up our wealth planning. She's our head of wealth planning. So thank you for taking some time.
We're doing really cool, exciting work.
Yeah, you sound so excited.
We were talking. It's funny. Pat and I were talking before we started on the show today. Just how in technology has made it so that the kind of planning that was done for billionaires before can now be done for people with $10 million.
Yes,
or $1 million.
The point of entry has really gotten a lot lower.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool, the kind of stuff.
I'd like Victoria as my advisor, at least for a period of time, right?
Of course.
Like to formulate the plan.
Well, I think Victoria's job now is to help along the team and help with all these cases, make sure that we're looking at every available option and so that the clients can make the best decision that's going to work for them. So,
all right, well, thank you. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, as always.
Yeah, it's always good having you. She does sound excited about what she's doing.
Yeah, she's smart, though. She's really smart. It's like someone asked me, do you have an MBA? I'm like, no, but there's a bunch of them I work with. And so I get to lean on that. My job is to take all the credit for the work they did.
Perfect, yeah. Hey, as we're wrapping up, I want to let you guys know we have a July webinar that is really designed for those with concentrated stock positions. So that just means you have a high net percentage of your net worth in one particular company, one particular stock. So this is advanced tactics for concentrated stock positions. Simone DeVeni, who's Allworth's head of private wealth strategies, is going to be the presenter on this. It's a very specific webinar, but it's really for executives, business leaders with RSUs. Okay, and if you don't know what that is, then you probably don't have any restricted stock units. So during this, you're going to learn some tactics to unwind your positions without taking a huge tax hit and discover 5 ways to unlock your portfolio's hidden potential. To join Wednesday, July 23rd at 10 a.m. Pacific, Thursday, July 24th at noon Pacific, Saturday, July 26th at 9 a.m. Pacific. For all information and to register, go to allworthfinancial.com/workshop. Been great being with you. Scott Hansen and Pat McLean of Allworth Money Matters. We'll see you next week.
This program has been brought to you by Allworth Financial, a registered investment advisory firm. Any ideas presented during this program are not intended to provide specific financial advice. You should consult your own financial advisor, tax consultant, or estate planning attorney to conduct your own due diligence.